Let's get started with our first story. Tom Aspenol reacts to Jean Silva. Jean Silva's submission victory over Bryce Mitchell was nothing short of spectacular. Tom was extremely impressed with Silva and said he had unbelievable technique. "So I know I've been away," Tom said. "Didn't get to really react online about the Miami card last week, but this is one that I really enjoyed. Bryce Mitchell versus Jean Silva. The finish was absolutely insane. Silva lands a clean left hook, and without even hesitating, he goes right to the body. That shot clearly hurt Bryce. You could see it immediately. The pain on his face, the way he recoiled, and how he instinctively tried to grab onto Silva's leg. That was his natural defense mechanism kicking in. But Silva was ready. Right there in that split second, Silva locked it up. And not just any basic submission either. We're talking a technical, tight, high-level maneuver. Some people are calling it a ninja choke. Others refer to it as a front guillotine with the arm wrapped over, similar to a rear naked grip. You could even go as far as calling it a front killer tine. Whatever the official term may be, it does not matter because the result was the same: total dominance. Silva tightens it up. Bryce Mitchell taps, but not in time. He actually loses consciousness because Silva held the choke just a little bit longer. That wasn't disrespect. That was intensity. That was fighter's instinct. That was finisher mentality. That's what we call the killer instinct. It's something not every fighter has. Some hesitate, some look for the judge, but not Silva. To be able to execute a submission like that in the middle of chaos while the adrenaline is pumping and under high pressure, that's not just impressive, that's elite level MMA. It shows his mental fortitude and technical excellence. He didn't rush. He didn't panic. He stayed composed, saw the opportunity, and snapped it up instantly. Bryce went for the takedown in desperation, and Silva capitalized in the blink of an eye. That's how you finish fights. That's how you make a statement in the UFC. And Tom Aspenol, someone who knows the game inside and out, made it very clear Jean Silva is the real deal. Moving on to our next story, Morab Dvalishvili shows how he plans to finish Shawn Ali. The highly anticipated matchup between Morab and the current UFC bantamweight champion Shawn Ali is scheduled to take place at UFC 316. And let's be clear, Morab is not playing around. He recently posted a video online that not only mocked Shawn's lean frame, but also gave fans a sneak peek into how he envisions finishing the fight. In the video, Morab stands in front of the camera with confidence, referring to Shawn Ali by saying, "This is Shawn, like 6 feet tall, like a tree, skinny, tall guy." Then pointing to himself, Morab says, "And this is the machine, you know? I'm going to just outwork him and bam, easy bro, easy bro." He didn't just talk about it either. He acted it out, mimicking the finish with full-on energy. He throws imaginary punches, acts like Shawn is stumbling back, and then finishes the reenactment by saying, "And he's going. Now that's it. Game over." While the tone of the video had a little humor in it, Morab ended with a smile and said, "Please, I'm just kidding. Life is good." But let's not get it twisted. Underneath the jokes, Morab sent a clear message. He is ready to go to war. This wasn't just trash talk, it was a psychological play. Morab is known for his relentless cardio, suffocating pressure, and seemingly endless pace inside the octagon. And in his eyes, Shawn Ali might have flashy striking and a champion's belt, but Morab believes he's going to break him. He's letting the world know the machine is coming. No games, no backing down. Whether it's on the ground or on the feet, Morab plans to drown O'Malley in volume, pressure, and raw aggression. UFC 316 just got a whole lot more interesting, and if this video is any indication, we're in for an explosive clash between two of the division's most exciting stars. Now let's move on to Renato Moicano, who believes that Conor McGregor absolutely destroyed Michael Chandler's career. On the latest episode of his podcast, Show Me the Money, Moicano didn't hold back. He was openly critical of Chandler's recent performances, especially in the build-up to the now-delayed McGregor fight, and even took a jab at Chandler's performance against Paddy Pimblett. Moicano started by saying, "I think he got tired, my brother," and then he explained why. You know why? Because I think that's why he didn't wrestle much. It's the same thing with Justin Gaethje. Have you ever heard Gaethje talk about wrestling? He says, "I don't wrestle because I gas out." According to Moicano, Chandler is in the same boat. He said, "I think Chandler is the same way, but everybody was telling him, you need to wrestle, you need to wrestle." So he did, and he got tired. That's my opinion. But then Moicano took things even further. He said the real issue wasn't just Chandler's cardio or his strategy, it was Conor McGregor. A lot of people are going to trash on me because I'm trashing Michael Chandler, Moicano said. But in reality, McGregor destroyed his career, brother. That was McGregor's fault. 2 years without fighting. Waiting. He continued. Plus his age. I'm 35, soon to be 36. I cannot wait 2 years to fight whoever. I have to fight as soon as possible. That was a huge mistake by Chandler. He waited for McGregor. I know it's money-fied, but you cannot count on McGregor. According to Moicano, chasing the McGregor fight might be tempting. It might even make you rich, but it can cost you your momentum, your prime, and in some cases, your career. Moicano didn't stop there either. He pointed out how unpredictable McGregor has become. He's talking about being president now, Moicano said, shaking his head. President of Ireland, imagine that. For Moicano, the whole situation is just another example of what happens when fighters start chasing the bag instead of staying active and focused on their path. In his eyes, Chandler put his career on pause for a fight that may never happen, and it cost him everything. Next story, and this one's getting spicy. Khamzat Chimaev just sent a message to Dricus Du Plessis, and Dricus fired back. Now, these two aren't officially scheduled to fight yet, but UFC President Dana White recently said he loves the idea of booking them for International Fight Week, which is shaping up to be one of the biggest cards of the year. Khamzat kicked things off with a short but powerful post. He wrote just 2 words. Good news. And alongside that, he shared a photo of himself holding the UFC title. That was enough to get people talking. Fans immediately started speculating. Is the fight already in the works? Is Khamzat about to get a title shot? But then things got even more interesting. Dricus Du Plessis saw the post, and he responded. Instead of typing out a message, Dricus let the visuals and the soundtrack do the talking. He reposted the same image of Khamzat holding the title, but this time it was on his own Instagram story, and it was set to the chilling, eerie song, Death Is No More. The message was clear. He sees Khamzat, he hears the call, and he's not afraid. This kind of back and forth is exactly what fans love. It's not just talk, it's about setting the tone, building the tension, and making the fight feel inevitable. And let's be real, if this fight does get booked for International Fight Week, it's going to be pure chaos. You've got Khamzat Chimaev, undefeated, relentless, and one of the most terrifying fighters in the game, going up against Dricus Du Plessis, the newly crowned middleweight champion, who's been on a tear through the division and has shown he's not afraid of anyone. Both men are hungry, both men are aggressive, and now, both men are already throwing digital punches. So even though nothing is official yet, the hype is real, and if Dana White's excitement is anything to go by, this is a fight that could headline one of the biggest events of the year. Khamzat versus Dricus. Title on the line, International Fight Week. Just the thought of it is enough to give MMA fans chills. Meanwhile, Ilia Topuria has been making waves too. But let's shift the focus over to Armen Sarukian, who recently had some strong words for Dan Hooker, and things are heating up fast between these two lightweights. If you remember, Armen was originally scheduled to fight Islam Makhachev at UFC 311, in what was expected to be a massive fight with title implications. But due to circumstances beyond his control, Armen had to withdraw. That's when Dan Hooker jumped in on Submission Radio, taking verbal shots at Armen, questioning his toughness, his timing, and even whether he ever wanted the fight in the first place. Naturally, that didn't sit well with Sarukian. The two traded jabs online, social media exchanges that quickly turned heated, but then the tables turned. Dan Hooker was forced out of his own scheduled bout at UFC 313 against Justin Gaethje after suffering an injury. That's when Armen reignited the beef during an appearance on the Jackson podcast. Armen didn't hold back. He said, "Nothing happened between me and Dan Hooker, but I know when we're in the same room, he's going to shut up and just listen to me. These people just talk on the internet. One-on-one, they're scared." When asked how a potential fight with Dan would play out, Armen sounded absolutely confident. "I'm going there to play, just easy money, but honestly, beating him doesn't even make sense. I don't need money right now. I need the belt. Beating Dan Hooker is nothing. People will just say, oh, you beat a top 10 guy. Who cares? He's not a real contender. He's never beat any elite fighters, never been in the top 5. Even Hooker's coach, Eugene Behrman, weighed in. During another Submission Radio interview, he revealed that Dan breaking his his hand might have been a blessing in disguise. Why? Because Dan wasn't truly ready for the fight. He was training, yes, but not at full capacity. For once, he was trying to be smart, choosing better timing, making strategic decisions. But suddenly, he gets offered one of the most dangerous opponents in the division, and everything spirals. And then comes the injury. On top of all that, Hooker was expecting a baby. As any parent knows, there's a time window where you need to be present, and Dan had blocked that out. Suddenly, it all collided. Hooker hasn't made anything official yet, but he has said he's hoping to make his return at International Fight Week this summer. We'll see if Sarukian is waiting for him. Now let's talk about some drama. And this one's got the MMA world buzzing. Joe Rogan's DMs just got leaked. That's right, Oscar De La Hoya recently went public with screenshots of Rogan's private messages after Joe took some shots at the former boxing champion on his podcast. So what exactly did Joe say? On a recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, he brought up De La Hoya's physical transformation. And let's just say he didn't hold back. Joe said, "Why does Oscar De La Hoya have fake abs? Have you seen that? Bro, Oscar didn't have ABS throughout his entire boxing career. And now, suddenly he's jacked?" Rogan then speculated that Oscar either got surgery or is on semaglutide, the popular weight loss drug. "His abs don't match his arms or chest," Rogan added. "They look too perfect, like the Liver King. Ouch." Naturally, that didn't sit well with Oscar. He slid into Joe's DMs and confronted him directly. To his credit, Joe actually responded with an apology. He wrote, "I've talked about you many times on the show. I wish the conversation had focused more on your fighting, which I'm a huge fan of. My apologies if I offended you. I'd love to have you on the podcast." Oscar accepted the apology, but also made it clear he was still bothered by the comments. "Thanks for the apology and respect," he said, "but there's no reason to bring up fishnets or fake ABS. There's so much good I'm doing for the sport, and you all ignore it. Thanks for the invite. Would love to talk about anything on the show. Let's get it scheduled." But that wasn't the end of it. About a month later, Oscar followed up again, trying to lock down the appearance. My man, let's make history. Have me on your show. I've got lots of smart, informative things to talk about. And guess what? Joe read the message, but never replied. That's when Oscar decided to go public. He posted the entire exchange on his Instagram story, screenshots and all, and even tagged Joe Rogan saying, "Where you at, brother?" Now fans are divided. Some think Oscar's being petty, while others believe Joe should follow through and give the man a spot on the podcast. Either way, this beef just went next level. Move on to our final story. Khabib Teases Ilia Makachev versus Ilia Taporia. What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Let's get right into it. Khabib Nurmagomedov might have initially shut down the idea of a fight between Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria. While speaking to Adam Zubarev earlier in the week, Khabib called the potential matchup a lose-lose situation for the champion. But now, it seems like the Eagle is doing a complete 180 and teasing fans with a possible Makachev versus Taporia showdown. In a recent post on his Instagram story, the former lightweight champion uploaded a picture of a bull, along with a caption that quickly got people talking. One user translated the phrase to say, "The bull is coming." Another user, however, interpreted the post as saying he's coming strong. Even though Taporia has reportedly dropped the El Matador nickname, the symbolism of the bull, combined with the vague caption, has sparked serious speculation. It's left fans wondering whether Khabib has had a change of heart and is now on board with the former featherweight champion getting an immediate title shot at 155. But not everyone is buying the hype. Matthias Gamrot made it clear during an interview with MMA Junkie this week that he thinks Topuria has zero chance against Islam. In his words, Topuria is a small guy. Islam is a really big guy. I don't think Topuria has a chance against him. If you want to fight with Islam, you have to be a big guy, similar like him, because he's good everywhere. But if your body is smaller than his, you don't have a chance for sure. Still, fans aren't so quick to dismiss Topuria. After all, Makachev had a very competitive fight against Alexander Volkanovski, a guy who's also smaller and doesn't exactly stand eye to eye with Islam. And we all saw how much trouble Islam had in that matchup. Whether or not this fight actually happens, the tension is already building. The bull is either charging in or standing by. But one thing is certain, Khabib's post has set the MMA world on fire.